David, it is so very lovely to be meeting with you today. And what is exciting about this meeting is that you're looking to do a CPD with us with a very interesting name, Wounded Healing, Psychology and Love. And it'll be with therapists, so it's only for people who are qualified and in practice. So really big welcome. What would you like, what brought you to want to do the CPD?
Well, I've been a psychotherapist in private practice now for 40 years, and time's running out. I've been putting this work off for a long time, and I can't leave it any longer. I'm 72 now. I've still got my health. I've got a few years to do what is most important to me. And this is what is most important to me.
Can you describe a little bit about what it is about this that is most important to you?
Well, in one word, it's love. And I was thinking about how I might sort of talk about this, and if we think about the therapeutic relationship, I've never fitted ever since I started practicing. I've never fitted or felt myself to be really a very good psychotherapist. I'd say I'm rather a poor psychotherapist. I don't adhere to the rules and regulations very well, and the intellectual boundaries of psychotherapy. I'm much more ill-disciplined than that. But there is another discipline that I'm very, very strict about, and that is, as I said earlier, the discipline of love. If you think about psychotherapy, as I started to say, what's becoming very apparent now is that what is either at least as or more important than the modality, in most cases, is fit. The fit that the therapist has with the client and the client has with the therapist, which I think is another way of talking about love. You don't want to see a therapist who's going to intellectualize your deepest, darkest secrets. You want to meet somebody who's going to make you feel safe, and that these things are not the end of the world, but these are things that can be overcome. And if they need overcoming, and if you can't overcome them, you can accept them with the help of love. But you have to reach out for that love. And many people reach out to therapists. Some people reach out to therapy trainings. And actually, therapy trainings are wonderful places to build or to experience being held in love. But ultimately, you have to find that light in yourself, that light of love in yourself. And when I conceived these workshops, it was with the conviction that love is a much more active and available element of my work than I had ever considered before.
We were speaking before this video about light, and you've started to speak about it in terms of love. Can you say a little bit more about how they interweave with each other?
I think that love is the action of spiritual light. It is the action. It's the verb. So if you think about My understanding, and I'm sure there are many people who have different understandings, which may be as equally as true as this, but what I'm going to say is that I think that the spirit world is not permitted to intervene in the life of humanity because we have been given free will. But they can intervene through humanity, or those members of humanity who reach out for that help. And that help comes back as love. And if we want to change this world, and many people are calling out to say that's what must happen, it has to be through love. We can't keep moving boxes around the warehouse. We have to open the skylight somehow. Love is what makes me whole. And in being made whole in that way, we are made whole. The more people who can feel that energy within them, the light of love, if you want to call it that, if I want to call it that, then the more people in this world also feel it. So it's very, very important. Each morning, well, recently, each morning I go for a walk, very early morning. And I live on the highest hill in inner London, a place called Telegraph Hill. And I stand at the very highest point and I say a prayer for peace. And one morning I'm standing up there and I see a police car sliding by at the bottom of the park, and they stop. And you can tell when somebody's looking at you even 150 yards away. And I knew their eyes were on me. What's that guy doing up there? Why has he got his hands like this? So I set off on my walk, and sure enough, going out the other exit, a police officer and two police officers approached me. Excuse me, sir. Do you mind telling me what you were doing on top of that hill? And I said, yeah, I'll tell you. I was saying a prayer for world peace. And the policeman said to me, that's a bit unusual, isn't it, sir? And I said, unfortunately, yes, it is.
Exactly, exactly. So this weekend, I guess, will be a chance to meet and experience an unconventional therapist who's been in this work, involved deeply in this work, and been shaped by the work that you do for over 40 years.
Yeah. And I will say that during that time, my practice has always been full. So I say that because I have to admit to myself, even though I don't want to admit to myself, that what I'm talking about actually has something in it.
Brilliant. So I guess it's an opportunity to nourish, for the people coming, to nourish and light their own spark of love.
It's an opportunity for me too, to see that I'm not crazy, that this really does have legs and has truth in it.
Yeah, I love that you feel compelled to do this work at this time. Thank you very much for joining me.